Good evening, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. Maneco 64 here. It's Sunday, January 5th, 2019. Title of the live stream is Would War Accelerate the Monetary Reset? The title earlier was Will War, but we're still not sure if this is going to escalate in Iran. I've started out a little early today. I've seen that there's quite a few of you waiting and commenting. Uh, Someone said here something about knowing a PhD at Oxford. I'll tell you that doesn't mean anything. I had a really nice, good client in the city. He now works at JP Morgan. He has a PhD from Oxford. I'm not saying he's stupid or anything, but he's just normal like anyone else. So having a PhD, in my opinion, doesn't mean anything. So DMC, hi Mario, Iran, another staged false flag, in my opinion. What do you think? Well, I finished reading an article by Caitlin Johnston just before I started the live stream. I think it's a really good article about what's going on in terms of what the U.S. government is saying about the general they assassinated, about Iran in general. And it's very unfortunate that a great percentage of Americans are falling into the trap again of and it's like they haven't learned the lessons from the past, from especially the WNDs and Iraq. So yeah, so let's see who's here. Pat is here. Hi, Pat. Hi, Jeff Brown. Lord Humongous is here. Hi, Lord Humongous. Nice to see you. Lapdog UK on board for war, says Jeff Brown. Actually, Jeff, I saw a headline just before I came on in the Telegraph actually saying that Boris Johnson is calling for cool heads between Iran and the US so that the crisis won't escalate. So I'm not too sure about that. Or maybe Boris Johnson is just pretending that he has a cool head, that he's not going to follow the US. You could be right, though. I think one of the things about war is that the truth gets lost. Not that we have much truth, even without wars. Lord Humongous says he knows a few PhDs who work at McDonald's. Mr. B, hi, Mr. B. He's one of the. He's got the wrench, Mr. B, with Lord Humongous. Happy New Year to you as well. Happy New Year to everyone, actually. This is the first live stream of this year, 2020. Billy is here, asleep as usual and snoring. Someone had a question or a comment about Australia and the bushfires, saying that a lot of cash transactions, the electronic transactions were blocked. There's some looting in Australia. I read about that as well. So that's what's going on there. Dave Kiernan, thank you. Thank you very much. Pat says, I'm convinced that this Iranian hit is all about protecting Benjamin Netanyahu politically. Yeah, what about I agree with that, but that's part of it. I think it's also the neocons. It's their goal. Remember Wesley Clark talking about his meeting in the Pentagon back in just after 9/11, 2001. This guy he spoke to said they had a list of countries they wanted to invade and change the regimes. The Project for the New American Century, and Iran isn't on that list, and it's taken a long time. And I think the people behind the neocons, which is probably the same people that run Israel, the Zionists, right, and the people who run the central banks, they're tired of waiting. They need to go into Iran. I think that's what it's all about. Plus, it would kill a few birds with one stone, get rid of the regime in Iran. It would help Netanyahu. It would help the financial system. Why do I say that? Well, I got an article here. It's from federalreservehistory.org, and it talks about how the Federal Reserve actually did QE during World War II to keep interest rates low. So they kept the short-term rates below 1%, while during peacetime, those rates were between 2 and 4%. So that was an excuse to keep rates low, get America out of the depression from the 30s. So rates stayed below 1 from 1942 to around 1948. So yeah, a lot would be accomplished, but we'll have to see. I think someone said that there might be a demonstration in Washington, D.C. next week, 1 million people demonstrating against war. I saw that Iranians have come out, quite a lot of Iranians in the streets protesting against the U.S. So they're trying to, and unfortunately, I think a lot of the Trump supporters, they'll buy into anything that the U.S. administration says now about Iran, which is unfortunate, in my opinion. So let's, so yeah, the reset as well could be faster. During wars, things can accelerate. We could see, I'm not sure about the stock market. I spoke about that in a video I did this morning. Stock market should do well. Corporations should do well. If we have a prolonged or protracted war, corporations' profits will increase. But in the short term, it's very volatile. And I also said that if oil prices rise too much, it's not going to help the consumer either. So let's see. Dow 35,000, it's very possible. Well, Lynn Gordon says Aramco stock will go up. I read that actually it's come down because they trade stocks on Sunday in the Middle East. It's actually come down this Sunday. The Aramco stock, I think it's the lowest it's been since the IPO. So it's not necessarily, because some people are talking about that Iran could attack oil facilities as retaliation. So who knows? It's all up in the air. And that's why I think it's great to have precious metals, not just because there might be war, but even if there's peace, we know they're going to keep inflating the system. So nothing really changes. I personally don't want a full-out war. That's not good. I don't like wars, and I don't think it's the way forward. But if it does come, I think it could help precious metals even more. And I guess if you do benefit from that, maybe if you're in a position to help people that suffer from the war, maybe you can do that if it makes you feel better. I've got my new NDECB mug. Just have a drink of my off my mug. It's got Lagarde behind bars. Photo of Lagarde, president of the ECB. Ben Gray, hi Ben, nice to see you. John Norris says he was in Iran in 1980. Yeah, John, I went to, when I was young, in like 10 to 12, I went to school in Switzerland. I don't know if I ever told you guys about that. And I had a lot of Iranian friends in school in the mid-70s. And at the time, they're still under the Shah of Iran. It was a very Western country. There is a lot of speculation about what happened with the hostage crisis, that actually the people running against Jimmy Carter basically Reagan, Bush, the CIA crowd, they actually negotiated with the mullahs in Iran, with the revolutionary group in Iran that deposed the Shah. They negotiated with them to keep the hostages there until after the election. And it's weird that on the day that Reagan was inaugurated in 1981, the hostages were freed on that day. And there's even the story that Jim Rickard talks about, that he went there to negotiate. And many people think Jim Rickards is CIA. So that's why a lot of this stuff, I think it's all theater. These people, even in Iran and in the US, we think they're enemies, but who knows? It's all screwed up, I would say. Philosopher B's permanent portfolio thoughts. Well, I don't have, when I think of portfolio, I think of investments. I don't think of gold and silver as investments, so I think of them as currency or money. I have them. Apart from that, I have cryptocurrencies. I think cryptocurrencies have a lot of potential in the upside. But as I've said before, at least for me, I've put into cryptocurrency money that I can afford to lose. But I think, as I said, it's a lot more speculative. I don't know if that answers your question. Bud Holly, yeah, talked that Iran is getting rid of all limitations on the production of uranium. Yeah, I've heard that. But there's no talk about Israel having nuclear weapons, and they're not supposed to have it. So I've seen some memes as well in the last few years, a map of the Middle East, and they show all the U.S. military bases surrounding Iran. So that's the other thing. Richard Langelotti, I think the CIA also got rid of the Shah of Iran. They put him there in 1953, I think, the Shah of Iran, and they got rid of him as well, in my opinion, in 1979. And they brought in those mullahs, in my opinion. I think the Ayatollah Khomeini, he was in Paris at the time. He was there in exile. So it's not out of the realms of possibility. The CIA, they bat on both sides. They when they get tired of a leader, when the leader doesn't play ball with them anymore, they get rid of him and bring someone else in, just like they did with Saddam Hussein, Manuel Noriega in Panama. Philosopher B's 25% gold, 25 stocks, 25 cash, 25% long bonds. Yeah, I agree with the gold. I'm not too sure. I guess stocks, why not? But I'm not too sure. I wouldn't be so comfortable with having so much paper. And what I mean by paper is stocks, cash, and bonds, because I consider gold physical and I consider gold actually cash. What you consider cash is actually a debt instrument, the Federal Reserve note. But that's my opinion. I'm not going to stop you from your portfolio weighting. Richard, another story that's really interesting about the Shah of Iran, and I, I think it was Lindsey Williams talked about this. He did an interview with a guy that was in jail, Jonathan Day, back in the late 80s, early 90s. Jonathan Day was like a British financial advisor, and the story is that the Hunt brothers, representing the state of Texas, the Shah of Iran and some other Middle Eastern leaders, they wanted to put their countries on a silver standard, and the Hunt brothers were helping them do that. And that's one of the reasons apparently why they got rid of the Shah of Iran, because he was trying to put his country back on a silver standard. There's an interesting interview in the 70s during the oil crisis, the Shah of Iran with the BBC guy, and the West was very arrogant, saying, "Oh, you're increasing the price of oil to our country." And then the Shah says, "Well, you're inflating the system. Look at the inflation you have." So I kind of believe that, actually, and it makes sense. The Hunt brothers, and apparently John Connolly also was involved. I think he was governor of Texas. Well, he was governor of Texas, I think, in the 60s when Kennedy got shot. But yeah, so that's an interesting theory there as well. Lord Humongous, I have a feeling, yeah, I think gold did very well on Friday. I know it went up $20, but a lot of times when you have days like that, at the end of the day, it comes off. But it actually, when the post-COMEX trade ended, it actually closed right near the highs, around 1551. Right now, here in the UK, there's a IG index. I know the futures are not open, but they do a weekend trading. And it says here that the weekend Dow is down about 85 right now. So we have to wait, of course, till 6 p.m. New York for the futures to open. Quite a few of you here, 234. I'm sorry if I don't see all your questions and all your comments. I'm trying my best. John Norris says he bought precious metals. James Samuels, Iran is the last piece of the puzzle to complete. Yeah, it's of course it is, and it's part of the PNAC, Project for the New American Century. And I noticed as well, late last year, there was military naval exercises in the Gulf of Oman and in the Indian Ocean between Iran, China, and Russia. And I think that triggered alarm bells probably in Washington, D.C., because that area there, Gulf of Oman, Persian Gulf, Indian Ocean, very important for the petrodollar, because that's where all the oil flows out of. A lot of the oil flows out of the Persian Gulf through the Gulf of Oman, Indian Ocean. So they can't have the Persians or Iranians, Chinese, and Russians challenging the U.S. Navy in that region. And I think that was part of this. That's why I made a video a few days ago saying that this could be the fight, the last fight for the petrodollar. NAC, yeah, Northern Dynasty, yeah, it still hasn't jumped up. Who knows? John Norris, yeah, I saw your comment. I think in one of the videos you're buying precious stones. They are interesting. The only problem I have with them, you've got to be very careful that you get the right stuff and that you don't get ripped off by the dealers. Precious metals is not, of course, you can get ripped off. I'm not saying you can't with gold and silver, but there's a much deeper and liquid market and a lot of reputable dealers out there. Nobody likes Trump. Well, I don't think that's true. I think the U.S. is very divided right now. You either in the U.S. people either love him or people hate him. I think it's dangerous because a lot of people that support Trump now, they're buying all the propaganda, in my opinion, about what's going on in Iran and the Middle East, and that's not a good thing. Um, as I said, read an article by Caitlin Johnston about that. The title is "The U.S. Government Lies Constantly, and the Burden of Proof is on the Accuser." So yeah, there. I'll put the link here again if any of you want to read this. Perth Mint coins, yeah. Lorenzo, hi Lorenzo. Clive Raza in Australia. Where do you see this all ending in what time frame? Unfortunately, I think I'm not too sure if we're going to have a war that's going to be quick and end quickly. I think what they want is just to have another prolonged, maybe in 10 years' time, if I don't know, in 10 years' time, we could be hearing the news US troops are still in Iran after 10 years or something like that. And why do I say that? Well, because the best war for the military industrial complex is one that goes on forever because they make the most money, unfortunately. And that would help also maybe. It would give an excuse to the powers that be to reset the financial system, and they'll use the excuse that it was because of Iran and the war there. Maybe they won't have to say that it was because of the '08 crisis that we had to bail out all the banks and the central banks. So that's how I see it, unfortunately. Hopefully, I'm wrong. Maha Tiki Cat, the dead guy killed Americans. Well, that's what they're saying, but what they're not telling you is that it's a lot of the Americans that were killed by Iraqis that were fighting against an invader, a country that was occupying them. Yes, maybe Iran did help to train them, but wouldn't you try to fight against, let's say, the Russians if they invaded the US, and then the Canadians helped you fight the Russians? That's what I think Iran is doing in Iraq. It's like Canada helping Americans fight an invader. So Alex watching from Scarborough, Canada. Yeah, the most viewers I have in this channel, percentage-wise, is from the US, and then the UK, and then Canada, and then Australia, and actually the Netherlands. I have a lot of Dutch viewers. Yeah, Cyrus, yeah, no war yet. I agree. I think the Iranians don't want a full out war because they know they'd lose very quickly. I think they're just going to carry out attacks like on US and US allies' assets. They could hit Saudi oil fields, they could hit tankers and vessels. Who knows? And it could even be false flags. And the Americans and the so-called allies and the British could blame it on Iran. So, and the other thing I think is happening is that the Iranian regime as well, they're in trouble with their own people. There's been a lot of unrest in Iran in the last year. So this helps them as well. It makes them unite behind the regime there. So I'm not saying so. Yeah, all countries, all governments, they exploit war and dangers, and I think there's probably a lot of people that are afraid now. That's what they want to do: keep people afraid, divide and conquer you. Alice Photo, Trump wins a landslide. Dems are pathetic. You mean that in November? It's possible. It looks like he could win. But I've listened to some forecasts, interesting things. Some people think that Michael Bloomberg could do very well. I don't like the guy, but it's interesting. I'm not sure. Yeah, I would say that Trump should win easily, but I guess 11 months is a long time in politics. And what's happening now geopolitically could very easily backfire against President Trump, I think. Joel Keck, physical gold versus gold stocks. Well, physical gold is, in my opinion, money. It insures you against counterparty risk. It keeps you outside the financial system. Gold stocks, you need to do a little more due diligence because you're investing in a company. You need to look into the management. You need to look into where they invest. If they invest somewhere near Iran and this war starts, it could be bad, right? So, but of course, they give you more upside, and they're different mining stocks as well. Exploration, then seniors. So, I right now don't have any mining shares, gold stocks. I've had them in the past. Yeah, they're interesting, but I personally, if I had to split my precious metals holding, I'd still keep like 90% in physical and then 10% in stocks. That's the way I think. It's up to you, of course, to decide what you want to do. Jonathan Dixon says war is inevitable. Well, the thing is, it's been years since they've been trying to trigger a war with Iran. So I'm not sure. We'll have to see. If anything, this is the closest we've been to it. So it's going to be very important the next few weeks to see, or next week to see what happens. Hi, Butchie. Nice to see you here, Butchie Harding. Wade Adams, gold going to 50,000. Possible. It's possible, but I think what that will mean will be a Venezuela style situation, hyperinflation, and then you really don't want to get rid of your gold unless you really need to, or rid of some of your gold. It's possible, 50,000. I'd be very happy with 2,500 at the moment. I mean, I've been the first time I bought gold in 2002, it was around $320, and it's a frustrating market. But I think we're moving up now. It looks technically really good. I know the geopolitical situation is helping, but technically, if you look at the breakout in the weekly chart of the falling wedge, it's working like really well. Some people don't think technical analysis works. Doesn't work 100% of the time. This time it has. I think we could go to 1,800 very quickly in gold in the next few months. Yeah, Benoit Hamerick, that's the Gerald Celente saying, when all else fails, they go to war. David Rodriguez, I'm not too sure about the dollar index skyrocketing, really. Not too sure about that. I think the dollar index topped in 2017 and at 103.82, and it's on a downward cycle probably until 2023, 2024. That's the way I see it. Sander, 1981, if you think 1800 for gold, why would you not buy gold stocks? Well, because I already have gold. I don't need the gold stocks, and I don't want to be involved in the stocks. That's why. Yeah, I have cryptocurrencies, small amount of cryptocurrencies. I think they're gonna act like gold stocks, so that's why I'm not buying gold stocks. Heckler Mining is a good stock. I've been talking about it for a few months. It looks very positive. I'm not saying people shouldn't be in gold stocks, but I'm not. I'm not. Well, everyone to some extent is greedy, but I'm comfortable with just holding my boring bullion instead of gold stocks. And here in the UK, gold sovereigns are legal tender. So even if gold goes to £10,000 an ounce, there's no capital gains tax. If the stocks go up, they're liable for capital gains tax as well. So it depends a lot where you live, your jurisdiction. 296 watching. Yeah, that's good. 301 now. I haven't seen No here yet. He always asks people to give me a thumbs up. So maybe you guys could. We've only got 77 thumbs up. Yeah, be your own central bank, Mr. B. Is one of the moderators, Mr. B. John Middleton, you should have your own wallet. I don't keep any of my cryptocurrencies in any of the exchanges. When I sell one cryptocurrency for another, I have to go to an exchange, but I make sure that I send it right back to my wallet. Dave Humphreys, yeah, I think we're going to get to 1800 at least this year. So I don't know when. I actually think it's going to be quite soon, because that breakout of the falling wedge is looking like we could match, because there's another falling wedge last year that we broke out of in the end of May, and we went from like 1300 to 1550. And now I think we could go from 1550 to 1800 in a matter of months. It could go even higher, but the technical picture tells me 1800 is possible. Nothing is ever certain in these markets. PH2, no, I don't think they're going to smack down gold tomorrow or tonight, because it starts trading at 6 p.m. New York, the COMEX, Globex. I don't think they're going to smack it down. They could, but gold closed very well on Friday, even after the close in the post market. I have a feeling it's going to open very strongly. I could be wrong. Lord Humongous, I filed for bankruptcy in 2014. Nothing wrong with bankruptcy. It's a true form of capitalism when crony capitalism drives American into poverty. I agree. Henry Ford, I think, before he did really well. I think he went bankrupt before he started Ford Motor Company. So yeah, failure is part of succeeding. Jack Nicklaus, the golfer, he won 18 majors, but I think he finished second more than 30 times, which is quite amazing in the major championships. So you need failure to learn as well. So I agree with Lord Humongous there. Tom Jode, I will not answer your question. John Norris with 12 German Shepherds. Yeah, Billy is guarding. Billy guards the silver. Mr. B, smash the like buttons. So yeah, reset as well. The title of this live stream is about the reset, and I actually think it might sound weird, but that's why I'm a contrarian. I think the after studying things and looking at things, I guess you learn something new as you go along. I think we are having a reset of the financial system ever since 2000. And it makes sense because a lot of cycles guys, like Elliott wave people, they think that the winter started. Kondratiev winter started in 2000. And if you look at the Dow Gold ratio, it reached 45 and now we're below 19. I know we went to around 6 in 2011. So I think we've been having that reset since 2000. It doesn't look like it because they've inflated the system so much with phony money that the paper markets look better than they look good in nominal terms, but in real terms, in terms of gold, they're not. So when I say accelerate the reset, maybe a war would accelerate a reset. It means that we would reach the end of the correction because the reset is a correction quicker than we would probably otherwise have. So, and when will a reset have bottomed or finished? I think is when the Dow gold ratio is at 1 to 1. I don't know at what price that will be. Could be at $100, but then that would be even with $100 gold. If the Dow is at 100, that's still better than now. But of course, I think it's going to be higher than 100. So we'll have to wait and see. Billy has infraheat imaging technology for guarding Marius silver. Well, he's got silver himself, so. I agree, Lord Humongous. And I don't think we've been free in the West for over 300 years. I know in the US there were periods when you didn't have a central bank, but the Bank of England has been around since 1694. So, yeah, when that happens, we'll have true free markets because we don't really have free markets, do we? Yeah, Billy snores a lot. Stacking Bob, is that the silver cup and handle you're talking about, 1980? Yeah, I think that is, isn't it? Yeah, silver is very undervalued, of course. I have silver, but yeah, I'm not selling it, even though the price should be a lot higher, of course. I think it is going to do well, silver. Bud Holly has Litecoin. I have Bitcoin and EOS. I bought some Monero recently and a few others. I've got Steam as well, which hasn't been doing that well. I still have some Steam. I did swap out of some Steam into Bitcoin recently, and I'll probably do that again. Not too happy with the way Steam is doing in terms of price. Silver needs to break above 22. Yeah, 2150 as well. It's an important level. or even 18 right now. It seems to have, they seem to keep, like on Friday, it closed right at 18, just below 18, even though it got up to 1830 almost. Yamana Gold. Uh, Grauman says, I voted for Trump and I agree with everything you have said. The other thing, when Trump was campaigning in 2016, I listened to a lot of his rallies, and I agreed with everything he said. And I was saying to myself, finally, we've got someone who's going to challenge the deep state, the establishment. And I bought into it as well. But a year or 18 months afterwards, I started to see the people he was hiring for his cabinet. The fact that he would go and meet, he met Henry Kissinger 3 times. Yeah, the fact that he said he was going to lock up Hillary Clinton, and he didn't. So it's disappointing. You can't really trust any of them. The only guy I would probably trust is Ron Paul, but I think it was in '08. I think it was the '08 election. They really made sure that he was doing really well in the primaries. But I remember when he used to win a primary, they used to put the results up and they would put him at the bottom, even though he won. So that's what's going on. I think, yeah, Trump duped everyone, and what they've done is that unfortunately they've duped so many people, and now what's happening in Iran, it shows to me what their plan was: bring everyone a lot of support for Trump, dupe everyone, and then do something that they probably would have never been able to do, which is start this war with Iran. And that's why this is worrying. I think we could have a war. Yeah, Bolton. He's got Pompeo as well. I mean, PEH2, why are you speculating with Bitcoin but no gold stocks? I made 40% profit on gold stocks. Why I had gold stocks until October. So, and I did well with them as well. Thing is, you can make 40% in a day in cryptocurrencies as well. Alice Photo found out about Mario from JSnip. Oh, that's interesting. I've spoken to JSnip for a few years ago on Skype. It's one of the reasons I started my YouTube channel. I still watch him once in a while, JSnip 4. And I thought if he could do it at the time, I think he had like 28,000 subscribers 4 years ago, which is almost what I have now. So yeah, I like JSnip 4. Joe Tampa, I think. The show, how about a drone strike on Pompeo? It's weird because though these drone strikes, they're the people who operate the drones, they're sitting in this army or air force base in Nevada near Las Vegas. I think I've seen there's a movie about it, but it's true because I went a few years ago to a friend's house for a barbecue, and he had some friends over that I didn't know. And we were talking. I was talking to this couple and about children, and they said, "Yeah, our son works for the RAF, but he's based out of Las Vegas, Nevada. He operates drones." And I thought, why is in Las Vegas, Nevada? But and they didn't. I didn't ask him that, but that's what they told me. Royal Air Force pilot in Las Vegas or Nevada operating drones. Why doesn't he do it from the UK? Well, because it's illegal to kill people like that in the UK. So they send him to Nevada. So that's where they do it out of. It's weird. William Santiago, CBDC. What is CBDC? I don't know what that is. Is that a stock or a crypto? Let me check CBDC. I guess if I don't know what it is, I don't have an opinion on it. Is it? I don't know what it is. Is it central bank digital currencies? Well, we already have digital currencies, fiat currencies. I think it's an oxymoron to say that you can have decentralized central bank currency. Yeah, I don't believe in that. So they might use the technology, but it will not be decentralized. It will still be fiat. It won't have any worth. At least some of the cryptocurrencies, they have uses, applications. Bitcoin, you have to mine it. EOS, you have to have proof of stake as well. Hendo, repo market. Yeah, I've spoken a lot about the repo market. Started looking into covering it in September when it kicked off. It looks like the Fed wants to withdraw from the repo market if they can. Towards the end of January, we'll see if they'll be able to do that. That will be a big test. Harry Chu, everyone needs to mellow out. All in on pots, on pot stocks. Michael Post, which cryptos are strong in your opinion? To be honest, I haven't. I looked a lot into cryptos, 2016, 17, 18. I still look into it. I haven't looked at the new coins. I don't think there's been too many new ones. But yeah, Bitcoin, of course. Not too sure about Ethereum. I like EOS, even though it's not proof of work, it's proof of stake, but it's very scalable. It's very fast, EOS. So that's why I like EOS. Like some people like Litecoin, they think it's the silver and Bitcoin is the gold. And then you have Monero, which is like a privacy coin. And there's so many others. Jim Rickers recommends 10%. Is that 10% in gold? If it is, I think that's, for me, that's not enough. Crypto Planet says Ethereum and EOS are illegal scams and will be shut down soon. All right. I haven't heard about that. Maybe you can send me a link. Why you believe that, Crypto Planet? Why Ethereum and EOS are illegal scams? I mean, the Federal Reserve note is illegal as well. It's not constitutional, and it's still going. No, I don't have any carrot bars. I don't think carrot bars are backed by gold. They're gold bars themselves, aren't they? They come in like a little credit card, and they have little bars that you like 1 gram bars. I don't have any of them. That's my one of the new designs in the Maneco 64 Teespring store and the ECB. And then in French, Ferme la BCE, and in German, the EZB herunterfahren. And then we've got Lagarde behind bars. Why is she behind bars? Well, because she was convicted of a crime in 2016, 1 year sentence. They dropped. They didn't apply the sentence, of course. Zorostar, yeah, I've heard about that. The EOS, yeah. What's his name? He was in the Mighty Ducks. I'm not sure about that. I think he was more of a victim of what you're talking about. But he was also involved in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other cryptocurrencies. Maneco 64 would be a great cryptocurrency. Maneco 64 coin. Could be gold backed, maybe, with delivery. Richard Langelaro, how about a fat bastard mug? Can they make him big enough? Yeah, I don't think I should keep going on about that guy like that. I think, yeah, we need to not get too personal. I think it's the best thing if we want to expose the system, but this is not personal. This is like truthful, because she was given a 1 year prison sentence and they didn't apply it to her. So there's nothing really untrue about that. Billy back, yeah, Billy back crypto. Well, there is the Doge coin, isn't there? The Doge crypto coin. We could have a Billy coin. All right, I'll take a few more questions. We're almost at the hour mark, if you don't mind, and then we'll call it a day. Parlando says, no capitals, please. It's disturbing. I guess what's Hendo is using capitals. Okay. Western European Empire is strong. They own all the gold. Harry Chu. Well, the Germans, Italians, and French reportedly have quite a bit of gold. US as well has over 8,000 tons. I'm not too sure about the US. The UK has very low, 300 tons, but the UK has, Britain is an island, and the Bank of England hold other people's gold. They hold like 5,000 tons. Possession is 90% of the law in times of war. So they're not silly, I guess, at the Bank of England, even though I don't like them. Thank you, James Samuel. Oh, Billy's just got up. He's sneezing. Isabella, I'm not sure. What you need to do is just Google gold reserves by countries. I'm not sure how. I think Austria has some gold, but I don't know how much. Snowy Skylar, hello from beautiful subtropical Queensland. Yeah, hi, Snowy Skylar. Unfortunately, we're just finishing off here. I'll take one or two questions from you in just another few minutes. Yeah, Billy just sneezed. No, Billy's doing well. He's fine. The only problem Billy has is his eyes. He's got dry eye. I have to put something in his eyes every day. Apart from that, he's quite healthy. He's going to be 12 in July, so he's getting on. Yeah, I agree, Snowy Skylar. Hopefully, there won't be conscription, and hopefully, people won't volunteer to go into this war to fight. I think, as Gerald Celente says, the people they should send first are all the family members, young men, and even women nowadays of the politicians. Donald Trump's son, they should go to war. Mike Pence's children should go. Mike Pompeo, all the Congress people also, if they don't block it, all their children should go to war. Yeah. And maybe the bankers should send all their children as well. All right. Thank you, everyone, for showing up. Yeah, I enjoyed the chat with you guys, and I hope you have a great rest of this Sunday. For you guys in Australia, have a great week, and let's see what's. I think it's going to be an exciting and not in a good way, of course, week coming up. So I'll talk to you later. Take care. Bye.